We want to see tremendous economic progress for India, but maybe just by saying we'll work 70 hours a week is not really it. It's about really being very holistic in that outcome and being able to bring the best out and create a balance, right?
That day in that conclave, when I just said we can disconnect from work, and everybody was looking at me that same normal way, like, you're going to good for you because you stay in the ashram so you can talk all this. For us, it's not possible. And he just stood up. I mean, this is leadership quality. I've shared it now with so many people as example. He just stood up and he said, okay, so we shall do it. And I was like, Acha, is that so simple that you can do it? He just said it. Okay, we will do it.
I think that the unfortunate part is that money is getting too much prominence everywhere. So money actually is dominating our life. And we feel that at least once enough money is there, then we'll take care of health. But it doesn't happen that way. Isn't it? You have to really work on your health or your money on daily basis.
Welcome to another edition of the ThinkRight podcast. And today, in addition to our radiant light sister Shivani, we have with us Shri Motilal Oswal ji, who is the founder, chairman, managing director of Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Very, very warm welcome
thank you
to you, and thank you for being here.
Rajan.
Thank you for being here with us today. Today we have been thinking as to how do we shape this context of a conversation that impacts a very, very large percentage, of the population of this country, the entire working population of India. And, not only does that apply to India, but to the larger world, so to say today. And we find that, large number of employees in the workforce today are dealing with anxiety, stress, are finding it very difficult to not only cope with, what they have to deliver at the workplace, but also go back home and deliver, on the personal front. And I think it's about balancing life. And we've had so many such conversations, and really glad to have you here with us today, Motilalji, because you're one person who has really been able to shape that narrative beautifully in your organization.
Thank you.
Especially in recent years. So I think, it's good to know what gets a corporate leader to really take these thoughts and these kinds of activities seriously and actually make a meaningful difference both, to the employees as well as to the business at large. So maybe I'll begin with, you have come from a small village, Padru, and, you're leading, a large company. Has spirituality, has mindfulness played a role in your life to bring you here to be able to appreciate, all of these aspects? Or tell us a little bit about your journey and its link to mindfulness.
Yep. As you said that I'm coming from a very small village in Rajasthan. I'm a born Jain. Janm और कर्म दोनों से जैन हूँ मैं. And in fact, my younger sister is a sadhvi. She's a monk. She has taken diksha. So I think the religion is part of the whole culture in the family. And Jainism, I think they bring not only about the practices, but they also talk about spiritualism. They talk about the power of giving. They talk about the power of fasting. They talk about the power of forgiveness. So all those kind of, I think, things are really imbibed in me since my birth. So I think that's where the whole power of spiritualism and religion come from where. And I'm practicing to a larger extent. I'm not 100% Jain in that sense, but try to practice many right things out of the religion.
Yeah, I think that initial upbringing plays such a key role in helping shape leadership today, Sister Shivani. So how does one really look at the corporate world today? When you talk and you see and you meet so many people, what do you get a sense needs to be done as we continue to engage deeper and build a more productive, a far happier society at large going forward?
We've all been experimenting with power of words, right? Power of affirmations. Now, affirmations are not always positive. Positive affirmations are the ones we create consciously, and then soon they become our vocabulary. But unaware, we create a lot of negative affirmations. And work stress is one of those affirmations. everybody is using the word work stress. It's a coined word, work stress. The minute you say, what's the cause of your stress? They'll say work stress. So the belief system is that my work is the cause of my stress. Is that the right energy to give to my work? That work where I learn, I grow, I achieve, I earn. The money I earn nourishes my family, my home, my children's nutrition, my children's education. Everything is coming from that workspace. And I have gone and labeled that workspace as the cause of my stress. There itself, the fundamental energy needs a shift. So, need to change the word. Yes, I am creating stress, but I cannot say my workplace is the cause of my stress. I understand it's the way I am thinking, and I create a little shift and I will experience a change. So stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. So yes, there are targets. Yes, there are times when I'm working late in the evening. So I can change the word to work pressure. It's work pressure. Work has pressures. Like for a child, exam pressure. We used to say exam pressure, right? We used to say peer pressure, exam pressure. Today they say exam stress. The word is going to make all the difference. So I need exams because that's pressure. And if I cross that pressure, it's building up my strength. Similarly, at work, I have to have targets. I have to have deadlines. I have to have certain goals. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't reach where I have to reach. So work pressure is a positive word. But the minute I call it work stress, it's all going spiral into a completely different direction. So first, we need to change the word and begin our day with gratitude for the workplace. Really, I need to consciously create gratitude, because when I'm working in a big space involving a lot of people, my teams, for who I work, for those who work for me, with who I work, there's so many people. And when there's so many people, it means different minds. Different minds means different ways of thinking. There's a lot of adjustment that goes on. But I need to remember all these people are responsible for my achievements and not only me, but what my family is experiencing. So begin the day with gratitude, first to the divine, and definitely gratitude to your workspace, gratitude to the organization you're working for, gratitude to all the people you are working with. So if you create those thoughts of gratitude during the day, your power to accept everything which is not your way, because everything cannot be your way, it will become very easy. But if you begin your day with work stress, that place where I go is the cause of my stress, then positive thinking is difficult because you've labeled it with the wrong word. So the word needs to change.
Yeah, I think this is the way people need to respond to the workplace. But, also many a times people like you are creating a workplace that makes it easier for people, to come in with gratitude. You mentioned you yourself, being imbibed with the right qualities of forgiveness. So Motilalji, how have you really shaped your workplace today to make it, more meaningful and more mindful for the employees and others as you've been growing your organization as well?
Yeah. I think all of us, I think, especially the business world, now we are in the kind of not any other business, but we are in the business of people, right? So everything really, I think, around people and people. Because without people, nothing, especially in our business, which is financial services business, there are no products. So people are the products, or people are the processes, or people are everything. So now how do we make sure that meaningfully we engage with them? And that's where I think a lot of challenges are coming. When it comes to, first thing is that the money itself, because we not only earn money for ourselves, but we also advise millions of customers, I think, about how to manage money. And there's a huge amount of, correlation between the money, you can say the health and wealth. Okay. So at our end now, first thing is that it's a very, very highly competitive business. The financial services business is very, very highly competitive. And there's a huge kind of, I think, demand for talent. So working with people at all the levels, being physical infrastructure, their physical health, their mental health, because it's about the knowledge. Okay, our business is about knowledge. So the knowledge actually is the mental side. And then comes the emotional part, which is really, I think, very, very kind of, I think, complicated work. So we try to really, I think, make sure that the workplace, how do we really, I think, bring the holistic approach to the work, where at least you work with physical fitness, you work with their mental kind of, I think, fitness, and their emotional kind of, I think, engagement and emotional fitness. And that's what really I think the whole effort is really, I think, from the HR perspective, we try to really, I think, bring that balance. It's not easy, but really I think it's a journey.
Yeah, no, inspired by Sister Shivani, and applying the ThinkRight principles, the affirmation principles. You've actually brought about some very significant changes. Can you share some of those changes that you've done?
We have been, all of us have been big fan of hers, I think, and we had invited her to one of the program where our people were there, our franchisee business partners were there. I think more than about 2,000 people, and she was kind of, I think, talking about that, and that I got inspired by her talk. That how do you bring the work-life balance? Okay, and then one of the idea came was that how do we make sure that in the evening people get switched off early from the work. And so thanks to her, I got inspired, and I just announced in front of everybody that we'll come out with a switch off policy in few months. And I think it happened. There were a lot of kind of, I think, concerns in the people's mind, that people were skeptical that it's not going to happen because we work 24/7. So we said that we'll have to figure out some way how to do that. And I'm very happy that now 96% of the people, they have switch off policies being already implemented. Okay, only 4% exceptions. We started below manager and below levels because we thought that the maximum population is there, and it is easier for us to, I think, start from there. And basically the three kind of switch off policies what so far we have been able to address, and we have to really still to go up. First thing, we said that we must switch off from the workplace. So we monitor the people that what time they should leave home. So 45 minutes, if your shift time is ends at 6 o'clock, 6:45, we make sure that people are absolutely pushed out of the office, and we monitor their exit time. Okay, we are putting the kind of, I think, equipment so that everybody is supposed to, I think, even including myself, we go and, I think, put our card in sensor card, so their exit time is monitored. Then the email, because physically you may be kind of, I think, pushed up, but then how do you make sure that you don't work beyond your work time? So we said that, okay, we'll switch off all the emails. So we asked for the people, okay, which are the people who work on 24 on the global markets, which are the people who work on in the evening, the commodity markets works in the evening. So those people were based on the exceptions, but then really I think we switched off the mail within 45 minutes. All the servers are switched off. And then third thing was there are a lot of people who work on applications. So like sales or collections or technicals or legal people. So we said that now we have to, I think, go back to the next level, that apps are also switched off, so that no physical kind of, I think, work, no emails and no applications. So we are working towards that, and I'm happy that at least now 4 to 5% only people, they work on exceptions. Rest all people really, I think, have been able to implement, and that's really, I feel very happy that so far.
I think
I work still 18 hours a day, but at least
my question was
4 or 5% of the people, I think, they have been able to really, I think, also that.
It's such an interesting thing, because I also come from a third generational business family, from Thailand. My grandfather and my dad used to say when he joined the workplace, his father had a 363 workday schedule. The whole organization only got off 2 days a year. One was New Year and second was Chinese New Year. And this was in Bangkok, Thailand, in the 50s and 60s, right? So when he came in, he said, this is not right? With your mind, you have to find a way. So I still remember him talking of this example at the workplace, at a plant in Pune, where you enter first before 8 a.m., right? And most factories used to work 8 to 5,
Yep.
And at 5 p.m., the person who leads the organization, as he was leaving, made sure everybody else left the office before he left, right? Just to say that go back and do it. And he had only 2 reasons why you're staying back in office. One is you've not been working through the rest of the time that is there, or, you've been inefficient, or you're not doing the right things, because if you need to work more. But that, those were the days of command and control. And now we are talking of nurturing and motivating, where, if you enjoy your work so much, that's your life's purpose. And how do you really even monitor time, But we can keep having these conversations. But I'm going to turn to Sister Shivani, because this is such an important subject today, right? And, we see so many different types of businesses that require very different kind of dedication from people. Like Motilal ji was saying, his is primarily a people business. Others are production-led. So you need factories to run, 24/7 to cater to needs. So many different things. How does one really look at the workplace and, the importance of work, the switching off? How important is it? And how should both, corporates, business owners, professionals look at it? And, also from individuals' perspectives, how should they treat their workplace?
So let's go 3 decades back, before we had our mobiles and all these technologies which we can use once we are home. So when we took up a job, we asked the employer, what's my work time? We used to see if the work time suits me. So it would be 8 to 5, 9 to 6. And more or less by 6:30 we would go, but we didn't have a way to connect to work. So that's the era. When we did not have the way to connect to work, we would be able to connect only next morning again at 8. And so if you go back 30 years back, before we had all these technology and content, the word depression, did we use it in school and college? No. We hardly even used the word stress because the environment at home was different. So whatever is creating a child's mental health is largely to do with the environment at home. So our parents would, probably that was also an era where one parent was working. But even if both the parents were working, they would be back home by 6, 6:37, and then they are home. Not just physically at home, they are mentally at home because they cannot connect. That concept was not there at that time. So that was a natural way of living. Then on the holiday, they are at home because they cannot connect to work. On a Diwali, on a festival, or if you've taken a holiday and you're out with your family for 1 week, they are not at work. Which means on an average, almost more than 6 months, they were not at work. Because 12 hours every day, right? 12 hours every day, 8 to 8, you're not at work. Weekends or just say Sunday, you're not at work. Festivals, you're not at work. And even if you take a leave and you're not at work. So you were working less than 6 months a year. But in that era, we were not talking depression. Cancer was so rare. Divorce was so rare. It was actually a stigma. You would not tell someone if you were going through a separation. So what happened in these last 3 decades? It's only this, that now we are almost always at work. Even if you're physically at the workplace or not. Even when you're traveling to work, you are at work. You're sitting in the car, you are at work. You're driving back home, you're still at work. You're sitting with your children, but you're still at work. In the middle of the night, you wake up, you still check your emails. So when is it that you are not at work? So the human mind is just fatigued, nothing else. So it's not work stress, it's work fatigue. And a tired mind can continue for a few days. Like, even in college, school, if we didn't sleep a couple of nights, we could manage. But you can't work like that forever. So what we are going through is just a work fatigue. And all that it requires is this kind of a balance that push people back home. Because it's not just affecting the person, the individual's emotional health, physical health also. Because we're not sleeping deep. And what I experienced with Motilal ji that day in that conclave was, here there are 1,000, 2,000 people who are all working under him. So they are his employees. And here's a leader. And I just shared normal. And I must have shared this, and I don't know how many programs, because I share it everywhere, that disconnect from work at 8 p.m. And people look at you and smile and think like, good idea, but it's not possible for us. So, and they will continue. But it's our role to share with everybody. And then that same way I just shared that day, that 8 o'clock, disconnect from work, spend 2 hours with yourself. And basically, you need to shut off so that these files here shut down. Going to sleep means you're moving from the beta stage to alpha, to theta, to delta, which means the very, very deep sleep stage. But if you are stimulating your mind before going to sleep, you're giving it work, you're reading an email, and then you're going to bed. So you've suddenly given work to your mind. You're not just read an email. We think I read an email, I switched it off, I closed my eyes, went off to sleep. Body went off to sleep. You just gave your mind work to do. And you went off to sleep. And so you thought that you were sleeping, but your mind was working. And simple sign is to check that when you wake up in the morning, do you feel energized or do you feel like sleeping a little more? So every mobile now has a snooze button. Why do we need a snooze button? Why do we need a snooze button? That means I haven't slept right. Anybody who slept deep, they cannot sleep more even if they want to sleep. Like, if any day I think, I want to sleep another hour, I don't have anything to do, why should I push myself out of bed? But I can't sleep, so how can I just sit lying there? So I will get up. So that is when you know that you've slept right, because you can't sleep even if you want to sleep. But you've not slept right where you are not being able to wake up. Your eyes are like you're waking up all tired, fatigued, as if you've just done a lot of work for the last 8 hours. And then you just see people driving to work. I love seeing people's faces early in the morning. And because I live in Gurgaon, that Gurgaon Delhi Expressway, all the corporates, I see all the faces. I've reached a stage you can't make out whether it's morning or evening. They look equally tired. They look equally tired. And most of them are dozing off at 9 a.m. in the morning in their car. And on the flight, the people are dozing off. So unless they keep themselves engaged with a phone, they just doze off before taking off. And then they have to be woken up. I've literally asked a few people, did you not sleep last night? Of course I slept last night. I said, but I just thought you fell off to sleep. And so then they're so proud when they say, oh, I can go off to sleep any time of the day, thinking that it's a good quality that I get. Sleep deprived. So sleep deprivation is an epidemic. And now children are following it. They are studying in the night because that's the culture that got created. So that day in that conclave, when I just said we can disconnect from work, and everybody was looking at me that same normal way, like, good for you because you stay in the ashram so you can talk all this. For us, it's not possible. And he just stood up. I mean, this is leadership quality. I've shared it now with so many people, his example. He just stood up and he said, okay, so we shall do it. And I was like, Acha, is that so simple that you can do it? He just said it. Okay, we will do it. And everyone in the audience, they said, no, sir, not possible. We have to do this, we have to do that and all. And at the end of the program, he came up on stage and he just said, we are doing it. The decision is already taken. How we will do it, we will discuss. That's a process. But we are doing it or not doing it is not the discussion. How we are doing it is going to be amazing quality. That's the power of the mind. The mind took one thought because information, you understood it's right. Because he's already following, he understands those principles of the power of mind. And he just took a decision, 2,000 people there, and they're saying, no, sir, no, sir. And he's saying, we're not discussing yes or no. Later on, we'll sit and discuss how to do it. And now he's implemented it. So I feel this is so much for every leader to understand. And look at this quality. He's checking what time they're exiting office. He's getting it disconnected. Why relationships are a crisis today? Why divorce is increasing? One, both are working in most families. Both are working is not the problem. Both are working even at home. Both are stressed at home is the problem. Both are working is not the issue. And when both are working at home also, they say I was sitting with my child and they will give themselves tick mark. I spent 2 hours with my child. But mind was not with the child. They just looked there and then they will go this. So they're not even radiating the right vibration to the child. Now that's causing conflict between couples and that's radiating an energy of stress on the child. So the whole issue of children's stress and mental health issue is only because of parental stress. No other reason. There's no other reason. The vibration is stress. They're all hassled, tired, fatigued. Where is that energy of vibrance, of happiness, of harmony? That basic emotional nutrition for the child is lacking in the house. So work stress is not affecting the working population. It is affecting the children. And so the organizations better wake up to the reality that the next generation of people who are going to come to work for you are talking about depression in school. So you better take care how they will handle your professional pressure. We tell people, meditate in the morning. They'll say, we don't have time. Come to the center. We don't have time. Go for a walk. We don't have time. So what are you doing? One word, work. What time do you sleep? After we finish work. What time do you eat? After I get time from work. So work has become like one, work
even
is
while you eat, you work.
Yeah, very true. While you eat. So work is one pillar of life. We've made work life and let everything else just fit in how much ever it can fit in around you. So we can't call that as success.
And it's interesting you say this because today in India, there is this true debate around creating 70-hour weeks, right?
Yep.
Work weeks, because a country like China did that for 2 or 3 decades, and the progress it made, was of a particular type. And when we look at India and we say, we are where, China was a certain point in time ago. And the opportunity for India on the global stage is so high today. And especially as we look at the future, we need people to be working more. And this is a true debate going on in corporate world today. And I think it's important that we are having this conversation as to if you really want the best to come out in people, what is that balance, right? For some people, maybe, I don't know, I mean, and I turn to two of you, 70-hour work weeks are normal because they are still able to perform at their best. But to a larger number of people, and I would say maybe 19, like you said, 4% is are not there, or maybe 90. That is not true because that impact that it might have on others. So it's an important conversation. So I don't know, how do you relate to this this discussion?
No, I think it's not really the number of hours, Rajan. I think really the more important is that how really I think you enjoy your work and which part of the work really I think would give you a lot of stress. So it's important for us to really, like I might be working really I think more than 70 hours, but doesn't give me stress because that's what I enjoy, and I know really I think how really I think really I need to really I think put my priorities into my work schedule. The problem is really I think that how do we understand the people's emotions? How do we understand their strengths? And then align their work, give them some freedom that you really, I think, must really, I think, have the freedom, how you choose your course, when to work, how to work. So productivity is more important rather than number of hours. That's really, I think, more important for really, I think, any organization.
No, and that requires inner resilience.
Absolutely.
Right. And one, like what you mentioned, you can handle pressure, it strengthens resilience. And someone like you who has been able to build that over your lifetime through multiple ways is able to handle and probably work more.
But it's also could be because he's integrated other tools for strengthening him. We can't
correct.
See, again, somebody listening to this podcast will just take this much and say, okay, he works so many hours, I can also. Take the whole thing. What all has he integrated into his life? He wakes up early in the morning and meditates to strengthen himself. Do you do it? So we have to take the whole package and we have to see how it works for me. And if I am working long, but I also have diabetes, so you keep calling yourself healthy? You say, I'm working, I can perform, but the other day I was in a conference with a nutritionist, a very leading nutritionist of the country. They were all corporates. And she looked at them and said, go to sleep by 10 p.m. In fact, go to sleep before 10 p.m. And again, they stared at her. So she said, not possible. She said, okay, then live with your diabetes. Full stop. She said, I can't discuss anymore. I can't. Which means there is a healing of every organ in the body at a particular timing. You can't say instead of 10 to 4, I'll sleep 1 to 8. It won't give the same result. So there is a particular method that nature and we are aligned with each other. It's like a farmer sowing the seed. Can't sow it at any time. Has to sow it at a particular time in a particular way. So work is important, but if I don't balance my lifestyle, there's no such thing as work-life balance. It is my own balance. I have to do that work. It's not that. And most important, if you're fresh and energetic, you will complete that work in lesser amount of time. Fatigued minds will lack intuition. They will lack clarity of thinking. They will lack accurate decision making, and most important, their ability to adjust with other people at work. When it's people's organization, suppose I haven't slept well for 2-3 nights, I'm going to be irritable. But people around me will say, it's okay. Once she sleeps well, she'll be fine. But when you're not sleeping well on a daily basis, then irritation has become a part of your personality and nobody will have compassion for you because they won't know it's because of lack of sleep. They say, this is this person's behavior. They are reactive. But then most of us are becoming like that. And that is where not just family relationships are getting affected, work relationships are getting affected. After doing all this, if I achieve and I earn even more than my capacity, I need to pause and ask myself, at what cost? At what cost? And how helpless you are going to feel when your child is going through an anxiety or a depression and all the money that you have earned is not going to be able to strengthen that child. But you lost those early 20 years. You lost it because you thought the more I earn, I'll be able to get everything for my family. There's always that balance. You have to take care of every aspect of life, and work is one aspect of life. Work is not life. If I get that priority right, and we will take care of everything.
No, and therefore our daily journey on the ThinkRight.me app actually handholds you through the day, prepares you, early in the morning to make the right affirmation, do the right things, and then reflect in the evening on how your day was, just so that, you can progressively become, better at what you do. And also, I think there is a collective outcome, especially when it comes to corporates, when large numbers of people within the company start aligning, through their actions and not just through a name board on, vision and culture, that can bring about a larger collective effort. So from the time you started this exercise and, today, have you started seeing a difference in outcomes, or, how would you measure an outcome of something like this, right? From a corporate.
See, first thing is really, I think that the productivity has not really, I think, fallen. In fact, really, I think it's very difficult to measure the productivity because markets are at different phases. But really, I can see the sense of the other day. I think on Saturday we had a family day. We invite families of our employees to our office. Every month we have family day. So I was on the meeting. I just came out. One lady came in with her kid. She said, "Thank you very much. आपने बहुत अच्छा किया, हमको यहाँ बुलाते हैं, हमको ऑफिस भी दिखाते हैं, but my husband also really, I think, is very happy working here because she has got kind of, I think, lot of good kind of, I think, practices here which keep him engaged." Okay. Or another day, one of the employees who resigned, and he said, "Sir, my father told me don't leave this company." Okay, because he must have got a appreciation letter from the company that your kid is doing so well and he has been promoted because of this and this and this, and we'll make sure that I think he grows within the organization. So there are a lot of emotional kind of, I think, support system we have to create in the organization to keep people engaged. And it's not, the people can work for 12 hours a day, but how do you make sure that physical infrastructure is there? How do you make sure that you invest to their well-being? You invest in their kind of, I think, reading habits. You share a lot of books. You really, I think, send them gifts through books. You have a lot of kind of, I think, groups within, like we have dancing group, we'll have a trekking group, we'll have kind of, I think, music groups. So there are a lot of groups being created through, and technology is helping them. So I think the yoga group, there's a meditation group. So I think it is important to really bring the holistic kind of, I think, aspect of the people to the workplace.
And you're able to get your next line of leadership to kind of align around this thought process.
So that's the culture. I think, how do you create, and the culture flows from the top, right? So the culture is very, very important from the people's structure, which is very difficult to measure that. But then culture is the way you live it, right? And then we are documented now formally so that people know this is the culture and this is what I think we can do here and this is what I think we can't do there here.
No, I think this is a mindset change that we have to see, in corporate India, especially, when I was just mentioning earlier, we want to see tremendous economic progress for India, but maybe just by saying we'll work 70 hours a week is not really it. It's about really being very holistic in that outcome and being able to bring the best out and create a balance, right? Because I think it's not going to happen, without that. So, as you look at, say, the next 20, 25 years of India's journey, the private sector and corporate India has to play a very key role, right? We all understand that. What do you think are these few shifts that is needed, particularly with leadership? Right? This is one example, but what are some of the other shifts that you feel, are critical for us, as we move forward in this journey?
Like we say, think right, live right, work right is another right that we need. So, because even though everybody says I want to work more, at the same time, everybody's complaining about their work also, So like he said, I love my work. Everybody says they love their work. Most people love their work, especially if they are the ones who, even startups. Now we have so many startups. They are working 20 hours a day. They said, I love my work. I have that passion. But then it has to reflect in your emotional, mental, and physical health that you love your work. Because if you love what you are doing, then you're going to be healthy. Because you're radiating vibrations of passion and love and that happiness to your mind and body. So let it reflect. But if your mind and body is reflecting something else, then there is time to something has to be changed. Because then in the long run, as you age, all these health issues are going to catch up, then what's the purpose? And at the end of the day, we sit back and say, what was the purpose? I worked so hard, but today I'm with this disease. So everyone will have to evaluate it for themselves, but organization responsibility to take care of the well-being of their people, so, and everyone has a different capacity. That's something we don't check. It's like a parent has 2 children. The parent knows that the 2 children have a different capacity because they are not just 2 degrees. They are not just 2 qualifications. They're 2 different set of sanskars, personality trait. But that's not sometimes taken care of in an organization, and they're 2 different human minds. So for what is comfortable for one, may be very difficult for another one. Like even at the center, I can say, we have so many sisters at a center. For one sister, it is like, I'm fine. Even if I keep doing seva till 12 o'clock in the night, even if I'm doing seva the whole day, I am fine with it. So for me, it is, I need to disconnect. I even need a day in between to disconnect so that I come back with that same, I'm not just doing it auto mode. I have to come back with that same freshness, with that same energy, feeling that same passion to share the same thing repeatedly 1,000 times. Everybody is different. So, you cannot just generalize it and put it on everybody else. But then each one needs to take moral responsibility to take care of themselves. So again, it's both. Organization takes care of you, but you also take care of yourself. So let's say Motilal ji says disconnect from work at 8 o'clock. So very good. Employees are happy. They're disconnected from work. But what if they disconnect from work and then they go and get connected to some other negative content? Then they've not used that 2 hours properly. So first, the organization is taking care, but second, then you are taking care. So once you get that little time, use it for your energizing. I think it's very important if everyone's going to work harder in the next 20 years. It's like there was this very sweet quote. Everyone should meditate for 20 minutes, but if you work a lot or you work so many hours, then you meditate for 1 hour. So, it meant that we go the other way around. We say, I work so much, so I can't meditate. If you want to work more, then you need to meditate. If you have finished your work life, it's fine if you don't meditate. It's like if you want to use the phone more, you need to charge it more. So if everybody in corporate India believes that they want to work more in the next 20 years, then let them make it mandatory so that they work with health and happiness. They don't work with depression and disease. We don't want India at 100 to have. Because if today we have depression, cancer, divorce, then 20 years later, what are we going to talk about? Today, school children are saying, I'm depressed. This is what will we talk of 20 years later. So if you want to work longer, you want to work more, then you first prioritize your well-being, charge your phone in the morning, which means energize your mind and body, and then you will obviously work more, but with health and happiness. So that's going to be everybody's personal priority, or organizations can do it for them. Have soft skill training at work. If people are not taking out time for themselves, do it for them at work. Have little meditation time. We have a lot of organizations now who are creating meditation rooms. Meditation rooms where people can just go take a break of 10-15 minutes, go and sit there, have a little meditation commentary playing there, energize themselves and back. Like you have food courts, you have golf, go and have a meditation room for yourself. So they can have meditation rooms there. So simple practices. And a very simple practice is 1 minute of silence every hour. A lot of organizations have even integrated that, where they have a little music playing for a minute after every hour. So whatever we are doing, we just stop. We just stop, take that minute to again, it's like take a break first. So you're getting, that mind is getting a little rest, and you create your affirmations again. So I am a powerful being. I'm calm and stable. I'm happy. If someone at work every hour had to say, I am powerful, I'm calm and stable, I'm happy, work stress word will finish. Because they are energizing that resilience. Work stress is pressure divided by resilience. Pressures are high, raise your resilience. Raise your resilience. So meditate for a few minutes in the morning, but the organization can help you to do it for a minute every hour. Even that keeps your resilience higher during the day. So simple steps. Each one will have to do that for themselves. If they want to work at home, disconnect, sleep early, work early in the morning. Instead of working at 10, 11 in the night, just experiment with doing it at 5 in the morning. Your intuition power, your clarity of thinking, you will get ideas which you had not thought of. So just that change. You're still working. It's like children also. Instead of studying at 10, 2 in the night, wake up at 4, 5 and study. It will be a different experience altogether. So everyone's moral responsibility.
The symphony of nature, right? And you'll always have seasons when it is to come. The body clock also operates in a particular way when, the right thing.
I've really experienced what she's saying. Really, I think I sleep early. I get up, in fact, 3:30 to 4:30 is my wake up time. So you are very cool, calm during the whole day because you have all the time in the morning without any disturbance. You can plan your day, you can read, you do meditation, you do a walk, you can do yoga, everything is there. And so I think life is absolutely peaceful. I have no BP, no overweight, no kind of, I think, sugar, everything.
See, so this is what needs to be integrated.
I think this is what I think you really apply those principles, but it requires, I think, daily discipline. Daily discipline is very, very important and which is very difficult. I've seen people, include my kids, I think the whole ecosystem is the kind of, I think, I don't know what time they sleep, no idea. They wake up, of course, I think, very late. And then they just keep running around from here to there.
That was I think, of using the digital platform to bring about this transformation.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, people are all the time on their digital devices, but how do you use that for good? But what you rightly said, I think, bringing about good health or optimal health through a daily routine, through all these practices, enhance your ability and therefore the ability to be able to do more. But in your specific area, which is about finance and, wealth and, if you were to kind of, look beyond your employees now to your customers, and really see how this message can go deeper. I mean, I'm just, kind of brainstorming with you where you can say like, grow your money with a good life or how can we take that as the next step? I mean, because you've got rich experience in this space. Is there a way to take it?
I think that the unfortunate part is that money is getting too much prominence everywhere. So money actually is dominating our life. And we feel that at least once enough money is there, then we'll take care of health. But it doesn't happen that way, isn't it? You have to really work on your health or your money on daily basis. But the whole ecosystem, unfortunately, multiplied by the power of social media.
Move now, to the next section of our podcast, or actually the concluding section. And what we have introduced is something called the Mindful Minute. As Sister Shivani was mentioning, that, instead of a rapid fire or a question, which is on those lines, is that how do we really bring about that mindful minute every hour at the workplace, in a person's life? And we're introducing that, section through our app as well. But this is going to be a conversation where I'm going to request you that within a minute to give an answer to a mindful answer to a question that I'm going to, to pose to each of you. So maybe we'll start with you, Sister Shivani. And the first one is one tip on how to go through the ups and downs of life. One tip.
The more you have ups and downs in your life, the more you need to strengthen yourself. So practice daily strengthening. Ups and downs will be just fun, not a roller coaster ride. You'll enjoy the ups and downs, which means you'll be motivated to face the challenge. You won't go through a stress and crisis inside. The crisis will only be outside because you've strengthened yourself. So you can remain calm in a crisis if you've strengthened yourself. You just got high emotional immunity.
Motilalji, your tip?
I think one must not compare him or herself with others. The biggest part of the stress is that I'm here, somebody else is there, somebody else is there. So I think everybody must start at their own kind of path and look at their own benchmark rather than external benchmarks.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important way of, because it's so natural and it also addresses ego and judgment and many other things. We'll start with you for the next question. Is the most important quality a leader should have?
I think listening. Because I've seen that higher you go, you speak more and listen less. But generally, I think I know people, a lot of good suggestions come from, I think, a lot of mid-level and junior people. So leaders have to have that more habit of listening more and active listening. Listening is not for the sake of listening, but really listening to them and motivating the people that keep speaking, keep on giving more and more ideas. And that motivates more people.
Very powerful.
A leader is like a mother of an organization. So just the mother quality. Self-care and but compassion for everybody. Just treat the person like a mother. So you will shift from critical, judgmental thinking to understanding, empathy, and compassion. Just be like a mother. Just be like a parent figure to everybody. That's leadership quality, because that's when nurturing and empowerment will happen. Leader has to nurture and empower. So that can only happen with that parental instinct.
And I'm going to take the next mindful minute question a little deeper on that. Is one thing that a leader should or can do to prioritize employee wellness?
First, prioritize it for yourself. If you start prioritizing it for yourself and you see the transformation it's creating in you, because anything I do and I like, I will naturally want to share it with everybody else. Isn't it a natural instinct? I did this, you should also do. So once the leader starts prioritizing, taking care of themselves, their own wellness, they see the impact of it in their life and in their professional life, they will automatically prioritize it for everybody else.
I've really seen that leading by example, people look towards the leaders, that how they behave and how they absolutely, I think, take care of the priorities in their life. So leading by example is very, very important, and that set the culture.
And another mindful minute question is that, what is that one thing that you should do to keep yourself in that state all the time? What is that one thing, one priority?
I think daily reading something. Yeah, that really helped. Habit has really helped me a lot. So my morning routine reading, then yoga or walk. The two things has really helped me.
That's what the consistency of a self-care practice, no? That is going to, that consistency is needed. And then very soon that practice, see, like Motilal ji said in the beginning, I'm a Jain. Now, what does it mean? It means a certain consciousness, and it means a certain belief system. Belief system is the way I live life. So that's called dharam, religion. And what we do is our work is karam. Today we have separated dharam and karam. So dharam is my worship in the morning of 15 minutes and karam is my 12 hours of work. But actually it was dharam and karam to be aligned together. So you're using your dharam in your karam. It's then when your karam will go at a different vibration altogether. So if he says, I practice forgiveness, then forgiveness will come in his karam at work also. But if you learning forgiveness in the morning and during the day say, I cannot forgive people, then your dharam and karam is not aligned. So align the dharam and karam and you become a karam yogi. So every leader is going to be a karam yogi, not just a workaholic, but a workaholic is a different word. Karam yogi means karam at a higher vibrational state, where you are doing karam, but you're actually experiencing bliss like a yogi. That's possible.
And what is the one thing we can do to make this infectious? We've heard the word virality, we've heard the word virus, to make this quality infectious. What is the one thing we can do?
I think you did it. During COVID, you experimented with a lifestyle change. You changed your morning habits, your sleeping habits, your eating habits. And everybody had to just look at you and they start asking you about it. And that was inspiration. So there cannot be any bigger proof of how this has benefited me. You don't even have to share. Everybody asked you about it and everybody else, whoever you came into, they started experimenting with it. Easiest. And today we're living in the world of social media. So you want to share with everybody, just share it with everybody. See, we're always forwarding so much to each other. But consciously, do not forward anything which is not good for the well-being of the other person. Emotionally, that content is not healthy, don't forward. But if you come across anything that's going to enhance well-being, always forward to everybody. You're actually contributing to radiating that karma to you don't even know where it's going to reach. So it's like a good karma point for everyone. Just forward anything you know will raise the vibration. Don't forward anything which you know will lower the vibration.
It's not only what you should do, but very
what
important
you should not do.
What do you feel we can do to make this more viral? have more Motilal Jis in society and in corporate?
No, I think I've started realizing that this life is only about keeping the balance between learning, earning, and returning. Okay, a lot of people, I think they don't have kind of, including myself, at many times you don't have the balance, but how fastly you can bring the balance between that what you learn, how much you earn, and how much you return. Now, return may not be in terms of wealth, but it can be in terms of time and conducting the right kind of advice. So I think we need to bring that kind of, I think, fundamentals of life, that life is not only about money, but bringing the holistic aspect of the life.
I think very powerful, and we see this actually happening even in the West and around the world, that people beginning to, appreciate this. And since you've talked about study and learning, I'm also reminded of that, one book called Siddhartha by the Nobel laureate Hermann Hesse. Somewhere it's a thin book, and I strongly recommend. Somewhere it says that there are three things that a human being should be able to do well, and you talked about one of them because not much discussed. It is to think, it is also to be able to persevere, and the third thing is to fast. It was a very different, context to it, but the fact that when you fast, you're able to bring about an energy transformation that is so different. So it just goes to show that any kind of a book can give you so many different aspects of things that one can do on a daily basis, and then whatever works for you, you find a way to do it, more, rigorously, more routinely, and we'll see people amongst us transform, and
even seva. Seva is an element that needs to be integrated in lives.
Yeah.
Like returning, the power of giving.
Yeah.
Otherwise we've just been programmed to, what am I getting? What am I getting? What am I giving is success, actually. The Hindi word is very correct. It's safalta. So safalta means, when we say it in Hindi, we say, aaj ka din safal hua. Ye samay safal hua. Means I used it in a productive way, in a worthwhile manner. But when we use the word success, we only say, how much I'm achieving and what am I getting. So safalta is like this. Success is like this. The more we give, we will not just earn more, but we will become emotionally stronger and physically healthier. Power of giving.
Now, perfect end to bring this to an end. Bharat ki safalta, Indian corporate India ki safalta.
Both
important hai. And I think therefore transformation of organizations is so critical. And I think hope this podcast has given some insight on different things that corporates and organizations can do mindfully to bring about it.
Yeah, business is about getting, while seva, they are doing the seva in terms of giving. So how do you bring that harmony?
But you're giving so much.
You're also doing your own.
Everybody's giving. Yeah. Even me coming here to do this podcast is giving. He must have taken at least 3-4 hours to come
your
here.
sacrifice is very different.
Everyone,
mine will be part. Yours is fully kind of, I think, giving it back 100%.
Wherever we are, whatever we are doing, whatever role we are playing, if we just do it with the consciousness of giving, like even his sanskar of taking care of the employees, this is giving. This is also power of giving, that I'm taking, I prioritize your well-being. This is also, so we're all givers in very different ways, but it just, I have that in my subconscious, that giving is healthy.
Yeah. Therein lies the power, which one doesn't really realize, but there's a far greater power in giving than receiving. I think on that note, thank you very much, Motilal ji, for being here with us. And thank you, as always, Shivani, for this wonderful, enlightening conversation.
Fantastic. I had an opportunity to spend some time with her to at least learn something,
all of us,
to get those positive vibes.
All of us. Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Too can start or enhance your mindfulness journey using the ThinkRight app on iOS and Android store. It's got a huge number of daily affirmations, daily journeys, daily meditations that will enable us to hold your hand as you move in this transformative journey of life.